Hi, good afternoon. I'm pleased to welcome you to the Driving Park Recreation Center today for the announcement of the Columbus Community Safety Advisory Commission. My name is Brian Scarpino, and I've been serving on the Livingston Avenue Area Commission for nearly a decade now. This work is not something that we as commissioners do for a salary, but rather for the love of community and the hope that by working together we can lift everyone in the community up. In my time on the commission, we've seen quite a few changes along the Livingston Avenue corridor, from this beautifully renovated recreation center to our new award-winning library and the Rickenbacker Woods Community Center. It would be really easy just to focus on all of the good things that have happened in our community, but the reality is there are still problems. Addressing the problems is the difficult work. The outcomes of your efforts can be difficult to gauge. The conversations can sometimes feel like there's no path forward. We have social problems such as addiction, economic inequality, food insecurity, affordable housing, and interactions between the police and the community. They are difficult topics, and there may not be easy answers. But as difficult as those conversations can be, they are a necessary part of healing and growing together as a community. Today we're gathered to learn more about the city's efforts that the leaders have proposed. The outcomes might not be immediate or easy to measure in our daily lives, but today marks an important first step in a healing process that is sorely needed in my community. For whatever success may ultimately look like, I'm glad there will officially be a space in which we can explore all the avenues to get there. Now I am proud to announce the Honorable Mayor of our fair city of Columbus, Andrew Ginther.
Thank you, Brian, for that kind introduction and for all of your great work in this neighborhood. I want to thank the incredible staff here at Driving Park, led by Will, the director here at Driving Park. We're grateful to be back here. And to Janet Jackson, to Chief Jacobs, Director Pettis, and all of these outstanding leaders seated behind me that I'll introduce in just a moment, who will be serving us on the commission. Last year I held a series of community conversations throughout the city to get input from residents about their neighborhoods. Our Chief of Police, Kim Jacobs, and our Safety Director, Ned Pettis, attended each of these meetings with me. I met with people and organizations across the spectrum: faith leaders, the NAACP, the People's Justice Project, the Fraternal Order of Police, faith in public life, and civic and community leaders from every area of our city, sharing multiple perspectives. We listened. We heard what our neighbors say is working and what isn't. We listened not only to the challenges they see, but the solutions they offer. Not surprisingly, one thing that became clear in these conversations was that safety is a top concern. In November, I launched the Comprehensive Neighborhood Safety Strategy to address the increased amount of homicides we've seen by approaching violence on all fronts: protection, intervention, and prevention. Our Comprehensive Neighborhood Safety Strategy builds on our fundamental belief in the critical importance of community policing, a belief that we're safer when we proactively address public safety in cooperation with our residents. The strategy includes many initiatives, from expanding the very successful Safe Streets Bike Patrol program we piloted last year in Linden, to the crisis intervention training for more of our police officers throughout the city. I'm also committed to appointing a citizen-led commission to ensure the Columbus Division of Police meets our residents' expectations and serves and protects every person in every neighborhood throughout our community. Today I am announcing my appointees to the Columbus Community Safety Advisory Commission. The purpose of the commission is to review Columbus Division of Police recruitment, training, policies, and procedures. The commission will focus on areas such as de-escalation, crisis intervention, and implicit bias training, the use of force policies, diversity recruitment and retention, and early intervention in officer wellness programs. They will also help identify an objective, independent consultant to support their work. Most importantly, the Commission will thoroughly review existing research of respected law enforcement and social justice experts and make concrete, actionable recommendations to further strengthen our Division of Police. The importance of this work is not lost on the residents of Columbus. We received 132 applications for the Safety Commission, and I am grateful for everyone who applied for this commission, because it shows me how many people care deeply and passionately about our great city. With input from my staff, I have selected 17 people to serve on the Safety Commission. And I'd like to ask the commission members, as I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing as I name everyone? First, Janet Jackson, retired CEO of United Way of Central Ohio, former city attorney, and former municipal judge. Brooke Burns, Chief Counsel, Juvenile Department, Ohio Office of the Ohio Public Defender. Emily Buster, of the Ethiopian Social Services and the CARE Coalition. LaShawn Carter, Director of Strategy, Diversity, and Evaluation Services for Franklin County Children's Services. Tammy Fornay Alsada, Organizer of the Ohio Organizing Collaborative. Dr. Chanel Jones, Franklin University. Dr. Vlad Kogan, The Ohio State University. Matthew McChrystal, Chief of Staff of the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Emergency Management Agency, Preparedness Branch. Ellen Moore Griffin, Executive Director, Community Crime Patrol. Andrea Morbitzer, Safety Risk Analysis for Nationwide Children's Hospital. Pastor Jason Ridley, Allegheny West Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist and Faith in Public Life. Tracy Shaw, the Columbus Division of Police. Aaron Sink, LNE Group and Southside Area Commissioner. Olitha Wall, Director, African American Male Initiative, Columbus Urban League. Mary Worley, Career Consultant, Jewish Family Services. Tiffany White, Progressive Insurance Companies and Northeast Area Commission. Last but certainly not least, Reginald Wilkinson, Connecting the Dots LLC, and former Director of the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. Thank you. This group includes community leaders, current and former safety officers, frontline social service providers, faith leaders, and academics. They live in neighborhoods across our great city, and just as importantly, serve even more communities in their volunteer and professional lives. Thanks to all of you for agreeing to serve, and again, my thanks to everyone who applied. I've asked Janet Jackson to serve as the chair of the commission. Janet needs no introduction, but I will attempt to give one anyway. Janet spent 14 years as president and CEO of the United Way of Central Ohio, one of the largest United Way organizations in the country. She was the first woman and the first African American to lead the organization. Prior to coming to the United Way, Janet served 6 years as Columbus City Attorney, a first for an African American woman in Columbus. Before her service as city attorney, Janet was the first African American woman to serve as a municipal court judge in Columbus. She's a respected leader in this community, serving on many boards, including the Task Force to Prevent Family Homelessness, the International Women's Forum, the IWF Ohio and Women Corporate Directors. She's a member of the Strategic Advisory Council of the Affordable Housing Alliance of Central Ohio and of the Columbus Community Trust Project Task Force. Those are just a few, but you get the idea. It is now my pleasure to introduce the chair of the commission, Janet Jackson.
Thank you. And thank you, Mayor Ginther, for that kind introduction. I am truly honored to be appointed by Mayor Ginther as the chair of the Columbus Community Safety Advisory Commission. I believe there are pivotal moments we are called to serve our community. Serving on this commission is one of those moments for me. We face three intersecting challenges in Columbus. Some in our city, and especially those in our minority communities, question the legitimacy of high-profile police actions in Columbus. We also face a spike in homicide rates and an opiate crisis, both of which impact our most vulnerable neighbors in our most challenged neighborhoods. And in the midst of these challenges, we are asking more and more of our police officers in response to the values and expectations of the community they serve. To address these challenges, we must ensure that the Columbus Division of Police has the best training, policies, procedures, and recruitment in the nation. That is the goal of the Safety Commission. We will work with local and national experts, city staff, and a third-party consultant to review critical issues such as use of force, de-escalation, mental health first aid, implicit bias, and cultural competency. We will consider the needs of our police recruits and officers, ensuring that they have the support to succeed on day one and beyond. Lastly, we will consider the mayor's charge of doubling the number of minority police officers in the next decade. If that sounds like a lot, it is. But as Mayor Ginther recently said, this is a leadership moment. That's why I'm honored to serve with such a stellar group of commissioners. Our commissioners are diverse in age, race, background, and experience. We live and work in the neighborhoods across this great city. Each commissioner brings a unique perspective to the commission. A mentor to new Americans, a lifelong social worker, current and former safety officers, and community leaders and activists. Thank you to each of our 16 commissioners for answering the call. And thank you, Mayor Ginther, for entrusting us with this deeply important work on behalf of this place we call home, our wonderful city, Columbus.
Now you know why she's the chair, if you didn't know before. I am thrilled Janet accepted this charge, this challenge, and this outstanding group of our neighbors to help us lead this critically important work. So here's what happens next. Over the coming weeks, the Safety Commission Chair and my office will announce public meeting dates. We will also put out an RFP for the selection of a third-party consultant. We expect the first meeting of the Commission to be held in April. I am requesting recommendations from the Commission by the end of the year. As Janet said, we are in a critical time in our city's history. We are in a time of unprecedented economic growth, but at the same time facing increased homicides and an opiate crisis that impacts our most vulnerable neighbors in our most challenged neighborhoods. As your mayor, I will continue to address the city's challenges, but I cannot do this work alone. I will continue to call on partners like our outstanding neighbors that have agreed to serve on this Community Safety Advisory Commission to help us in this very important work. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you again to our commissioners and to this community. We've got some important work ahead together to make sure that every person and every family, regardless of where they live in this community, feels safe and welcome, and that we continue to do everything we can to provide our outstanding Division of Police the resources they need to help make us all safer. Thank you all for being here.